Hello viewers, welcome to the Editorial Analysis by Drishti IAS. In this section, we regularly take editorials from various newspapers and news portals for a better understanding of various issues happening in India and around the globe. Dear viewers, in this section, we first try to link the editorial with our UPSC syllabus. Then we go analytical in order to understand some key points and at last some important concepts. Dear viewers, we truly hope that you like this initiative taken by Drishti IAS and your feedbacks are important for us. So kindly feel free to give your important feedbacks in the comment section. So without any further delay, let's commence our session.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
Today's editorial is taken from the Hindustan Times, published on 18th of January 2021. The title of today's editorial is Washington's return to the Paris Climate Accord is a significant step. Built on it. If we try to link today's editorial with our UPSC syllabus, we can link it with GS Paper 3, which has segments that relate with polity, constitution, governance, international relations, and also the editorial can be linked with the GS Paper 3 environment section. Some key points from today's editorial. United States President-elect Joe Biden will begin his term on Wednesday by signing executive order to return the country to the Paris Climate Agreement. In a memo, Mr. Biden's Chief of Staff Ron Klain noted that the US is facing four overlapping and compounding crises: the COVID crisis, the resulting economic crisis, the climate crisis, and a racial equality crisis, which demands urgent action. Now, viewers, like we all know that on 20th of January 2021, Mr. Joe Biden will take the oath of the President of the United States of America and will begin his tenure. With his tenure, he will also be making sure that America is once again joining the Paris Climate Agreement, which under the administration of Mr. Donald Trump, America withdrew from the agreement. Now, in one of a memo, Mr. Biden's Chief of Staff, Mr. Ron Klain, he said that right now, or before Mr. Joe Biden, there are four important crises that are looming over America. The number one is the COVID crisis. Number second, the resulting economic crisis. See, COVID has caused a lot of trouble in United States of America as well. And one of the most important things that the people have suffered there is the economic crisis, which actually started along with the COVID crisis. So these two challenges are of great importance before Mr. Biden. Also, the climate change issue, the climate crisis. And we saw in the month of June, there were huge protests in the streets of America with a movement called as the Black Lives Matter. Now, again, America has to ensure that they are living in a society where there is no racial discrimination on the basis of color. So before Biden administration, this thing also is going to be a huge challenge. The Biden administration's decision to return to Paris Climate Agreement, the US issued a formal exit notice on November 4, 2019, which took effect on November 4, 2020. Reverses one of the most controversial and damaging decisions of Mr. Biden's predecessor, Donald Trump, a climate skeptic. Now, if we speak about Mr. Donald Trump, so Donald Trump has his reputation of being a climate skeptic person. Now, he doesn't agree to some of the initiatives that the international or the global platforms or the global organizations are taking. Now, last year on November 4th, 2019, Mr. Biden sent a formal exit notice to the Paris Climate Agreement and wanted America to be removed from it. It came on effect from 4th of November 2020. Now, when America will be joining the Paris Climate Agreement soon, it would be the reversal of one of the biggest and controversial decisions that was taken by Mr. Donald Trump. Because see, if we speak about the present scenario, if we speak about the global world right now, climate change is something where each and every country has to come up and do as much as possible. But when Mr. Trump took this decision, it came as a surprise to the entire world that America, who has always acted as a leader and in such desperate times, is actually leaving the Paris Climate Agreement. So this was something quite controversial. In the run-up to the election, Mr. Biden had promised that one of his priorities would be to build a more resilient and sustainable economy, one that will put the United States on an irreversible path to achieve net zero emissions economy wide by no later than 2050, and also lead an effort to get every major country to ramp up the ambition of their domestic climate targets. See, while the time Mr. Biden was campaigning, time and again, he regularly promised that one of the most important priorities once he becomes the president would be to build America into such an economy which is resilient in nature, which is sustainable in nature. Mr. Biden also focused upon that by 2050, America will achieve net zero emissions. See, when I speak about net zero emissions, it means that by 2050, there shall be no anthropogenic induced carbon emission or other GHG, greenhouse gases emission, human or anthropogenic induced. Many countries, including China, Japan, South Korea, many European countries have actually come up with this idea, come up with this proposal. And also in many climate summits, climate treaties which have taken place in the past, it has been decided that if we want to have a better environment, it is very important that by the mid of this century, the world has to go no carbon emissions, or you can say net zero emissions. Only then situation can be controlled. So Mr. Biden has always stated such things as his primary target. He has also said that first of all, he has to ensure that America is turning into a resilient and a sustainable economy. And along with that, he said that he will be helping every other country so that they can match up the ambition of their domestic climate targets. The present scenario, the 2015 Paris Agreement is the first truly legally binding global treaty to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius, preferably to 1.5 degrees Celsius, compared to the pre-industrial level. See, if we speak about the 2015 Paris Agreement, it happened under the COP21, which comes under the framework of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So the COP21, or the Convention of Parties 21, it is considered as one of the most historical climate treaties, climate summits that has actually taken place. In 2013, in Warsaw Treaty, the term INDC came into existence, that is intended nationally determined contributions. There was more preference given on the INDCs in the Paris Agreement of 2015. Also, the countries came up on a conclusion that we have to limit global warming below 2 degrees Celsius as compared to that of the pre-industrial levels. So, Mr. Trump's decision to withdraw the United States, one of the world's largest economies and emitters, cast a shadow on the deal because the US has a historical responsibility to not reduce its own emissions but also provide financial resources to developing countries to deal with the crisis, their adaptation requirement and green technology. See, when Mr. Trump came up with the decision that America is withdrawing from the Paris Agreement, it came as a surprise to everyone. Why it came as a surprise? Because if we speak about, I'm talking about the data of the carbon emission, China contributes most, and in the second place, it is United States of America. So technically, United States of America has got a historical responsibility towards this planet, and not only towards improving their emission standards, but also America has to provide whatever help is possible, whether it is the technical help or whether it is the financial help. It has to help all the developing countries, least developed countries, etc., so that they can make sure that they are turning their economies into a green economy. In 2020, the coronavirus pandemic elbowed out the climate crisis from the global agenda, but at the same time, it underlined the urgent need to take stronger measures to offset the debilitating impact of the climate crisis on the environment and humans. Now, if we speak about the year 2020, the year 2020 entirely was engaged with Corona. So, yes, the issue of climate change for some time, it was not taken care properly. However, one thing which is quite clear, that we have to do whatever is possible in order to improve the situation of climate right now. Otherwise, once the situation is out of our hand, there is nothing which can be reversed. The return of the US to the accord and the arrival of vaccine to deal with the pandemic will hopefully help the world to reset its focus on the crisis. Now, two most important things that are happening. Number one, the vaccination program which has started in many countries, including India. In India, it got started on 16th of January 2021. And also America accepting once again the Paris Climate Agreement. So these two things, they have come on a very great time. And the best interpretation of such a situation can be said that once again, the entire focus of the world will be on the climate crisis. The way ahead. With Mr. Biden in the saddle and Prime Minister Narendra Modi commitment to the issue, India has done well on its Paris commitment. Now see, when it comes to India, the Indian administration is doing quite well with reference to its commitment to the Paris climate change. Also on various fronts, India is regularly making sure that they are doing as much as possible with respect to the issue of climate change. Whether we speak about the International Solar Alliance or whether we speak about the coal gasification plant, which will be completed, which is a proposal of Niti Aayog, where 100 million tons of coal will be used in order to produce the SNG, that is synthetic natural gas. This is a project worth 4 lakh crores. Whether we speak about even more cleaner and greener energy in the form of nuclear energy, and according to our data, it has been said that by 2032, India will be having at least 63 gigawatts. Some other initiatives like India is regularly doing each and everything so that its forest cover can be improved. So several initiatives have been taken with reference to India, and also India is doing quite well on its National Action Plan for Climate Change. Those 8 missions are being taken care in a very decent and an organized manner. So when we speak about Narendra Modi's commitment is quite good with reference to environment. And during such a time, Mr. Biden has to support India on the mitigation of emission. Also, we have to develop a infrastructure where we need help from America. A renewable energy infrastructure is to be developed. Also, we need some financial assistance and Indian Ocean monitoring. And one of the most important things that we need is that we have to phase out the hydrofluorocarbons, which India has targeted that by 2040, India will be phasing out the HFCs. So in all these avenues, India actually wants help from America, and Mr. Biden can be of great importance here. A green partnership between two of the world's biggest economies is not just critical for both nations, but can also become a template for the world to build back after the pandemic. See, the most important thing is it's not just about the two big economies of the world. No, it's about a commitment towards green economy. If both the countries, India and America, if they are joining hands in order to make themselves or create a green economy for themselves, then it's going to be an example that both the countries will be setting up in front of the entire world. The issue of net zero emissions, it has to be reached, because see, we have to create an example. If we really want to build ourselves better after the damage that Corona has done, the pandemic has done, it is time that we start accepting nature as something to which we have our duties. We have our responsibilities. Once this approach is in every person, only then the issue of climate change can be mitigated completely. So viewers, this was with today's editorial. A question that can be framed with reference to today's editorial is, what are India's INDCs? Also elaborate some of the government initiatives taken towards to achieve the same. So viewers, I hope you liked today's editorial analysis. Thank you very much.